I'm here to assist you with all your test equipment needs, from multimeters and test weights to patient simulators and x-ray analyzers. If you need guidance or you have any questions, please don't hesitate to write me at jbarber@bcgroupinternational.com. Hey everyone, welcome back to Better Biomed. Today was one of those challenging days that really kind of takes you back to your roots and makes you understand electronic principles in order to solve problems. Sometimes those problems are at home, here in my home office, and this is where I edit videos, and this is where I get a lot of things done. And I lost electricity in this room. God, what a bad day for that to happen too. Because I had a lot of people that were contacting me about test equipment and stuff, and I'm sitting here, I'm putting in orders, and I'm dealing with some things, and my computer, which does have a UPS, you can see it down there, need a UPS, guys. If you guys don't have one, get one. Trust me. Days like today, it would have just destroyed the work that I was doing, but here I am. It's good to go. So my UPS went off, and I lost power throughout this room. Okay, well, that normally would be very questionable, except I had a space heater over there, just a little one, and maybe 800 watts, and it shut off too, and I was like, gosh darn it. Okay, well, I obviously tripped a breaker, because this guy here has, what, a 1500 watt power supply, and it's got a 3090 graphics card plus a 5950X processor. So when I'm processing video and stuff, it draws a lot of power. However, things like the UPS system down there, they help spread that load, and they minimize that from happening from surge voltage and surge current. And anyway, this is something that's never happened before. And so I got out my tools and let's do an investigation. Let's see what all is going on. So when you lose power, what's the first thing you do? Obviously, you check the circuit breaker. Let's go take a look. So here we are, we're at the circuit panel, and I did a pretty thorough investigation, because if you have power, normally it's a circuit breaker. Well, none of my breakers were tripped, and I understand that some of my breakers are looking pretty old. Some of them are pretty shisty. This is easily a 20-year-old panel, and it's going to get changed out. It's going to get changed out this year. And I noticed some of the wiring down here is also very questionable, extremely questionable. Not a good thing, guys. So my circuit for the bedroom, it looks like it was fine, but that does not mean you don't have a problem, because internally these things do fail, and they can fail in an open. However, I did a little bit more research, and I come to find out that was definitely not the problem. Because every single one of my breakers, I clipped here to my bus bar, and I went through and I probed, and on my output side, I have voltage at every single one. So I don't have power in the room. None of my stuff is turning on. What do we do next? All right, well, let's put this guy back together, because even though it's not that great of a panel, and I did check all my lugs on my ground and my neutral bus bars. Everything is tightened down, and I checked all my lugs on every single one of the breakers. They were all torqued down. We were good to go. So let's go inside and let's take a look at what we're dealing with there. So when I check all the circuits in and around the bedroom, they, oddly enough, are showing that they have AC power when I check them with this little chicken stick here. This is the Tesman, the TN213. Interesting. This guy, when you turn it on, it does have a flashlight integrated. It's got some cool features. If you're in a dark area or something, this guy here can really help you out. It's got some cool stuff. But when you check it out, you can see it's a dead giveaway that you have AC power. And see how it says 99%? And over here on the neutral pin, it should say less than 99%. And Good reason, right? Because your neutral is not carrying AC, and your small pin right here, which is your hot, it is carrying 120 volts AC. So in this spot was this guy right here, GFCI. Had better days, you can see. Anytime you see a chip GFCI, it should be changed out anyway. However, this guy here does not test and it does not reset. Internally, this guy had some problems, but it was not what I thought the problem was. And it's because I had power clearly coming in, but when I checked from the hot to the neutral, I had 0 volts. But when I checked from hot to ground, I had 120 volts. Interesting. Well, on this guy here, I have 120 volts. And then across these two here, I got 0 volts. And across these two, I have 0 volts. So that means I lost a neutral. That's interestingly, I lost a neutral. Now, how the heck would I lose a neutral? And I didn't think that it was this one right off the bat, because GFCI shouldn't be feeding my entire bedroom, right? So the GFCI is normally for the bathroom. It's normally for wet locations or outdoor locations. So here we are. We have a GFCI. This one here clearly needed to be resolved, and I just took it for what it was. I said, all right, let's keep checking this circuit because something else is going on. So I kept searching, and all my other outlets also were missing a neutral. That means that my circuit that comes directly in from the panel someplace is broken. So let's go ahead and let's take a look and see what else I found. So here we are. I'm back by my air conditioning systems. This is the back wall to the bedroom. So the circuit is definitely relevant to right here. Right there is my control panel. You can see it. I have one electrical box here, and I have another one right here. This one here is, interestingly enough, not GFCI. So that means that it's probably feeding from a GFCI someplace. I don't know. Kind of weird. You would think that maybe they would run that one up to here. However, this one here had 120 volts across hot and neutral. So it is clearly on a separate circuit. I came down here to inspect this guy, because this guy here was a GFCI. And interestingly enough, this guy has had better days. You see that? It started to have a little electrical fire, and this guy here just completely deteriorated due to moisture and water ingress. So I removed the lid, and there's a divot right here in the plastic, and I believe that's due to heat, because as these contacts got loose, I believe they heated up the box, which created a divot, so that broke the seal and allowed water to probably fill this box completely. And what I couldn't make out is I have a hot neutral coming in, clearly I have 120 volts across them, and then I have a hot neutral going out. All those were in a really bad condition, and some of them weren't even connected to this guy. The hotline was not connected to this guy. It had just snapped right off, you know, due to the fastener, you know, disintegrating. You can see right there. So what I did is I took all the wires out. I removed this guy. Was not easy. And I cleaned up the wires, and I put wire nuts on them, because if I have a circuit right there, maybe for a vacuum pump or something like that, then why do I need one right here? I could always fix that in the future, guys. I don't need any input on it. It just is what it is. I put wire nuts on it, at least for troubleshooting purposes, because the power going out goes someplace. I don't know where, but it had someplace to go. So, wire nutted them, and on the back of this lid, I put a whole bunch of sealant. And you can see it right there. Definitely squishing all around. So that box is now just a closed compartment. Just, it is what it is. This guy has been removed. The fire hazard that was is no longer there. So I have power here. Now what do? we go to see the next weak link, and you guys can tell this is how this is gonna go. So now I know I have power going in where I didn't have power. So let's go figure out what we do from here. Now that the outdoor power was restored, I came in and I took measurements on this guy here. No matter what, every time I see something crusty, it's gonna get changed out regardless. So I changed it out, and when I screwed this guy down, I magically had power. Now that doesn't make any sense to me. I got a GFCI outside, which fed into here, and then from here they chased out to a non-GFCI circuit around the bedroom and a couple outlets down the hallway. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? So here we are, defective GFCIs, something to be aware of. Power in can be on, the upper and lower, and you can have multiple lines tied in. So even though the GFCI isn't necessarily chasing power out to someplace, power can be jumpered in on the same terminal and then go to another circuit, which is not GFCI. So that's the big illusion. I know that's probably not proper wiring code. Normally GFCI branches are all GFCI. However, living proof right here. And now I have power. So folks, that just goes to show you, it's some crazy things. This house is 22, 23 years old, something like that. And I do not approve. I also have some wires coming down from someplace. I do not know where they go to yet. And those wires are just terminated inside that box. Extremely irritating. I love to go through the electrical every time I buy a house. This would be my third house, and every single time I find some jacked up stuff that shouldn't be that way. Just is what it is. So I always expect the worst and always come in as safe as possible and find the first weak link, fix it, go to the next weak link, fix it, and then keep working down the circuit. And here we are. Fix the problem. I have power and I'm back in business. So guys, that just goes to show you, it's not the things that you think it's going to be. I probably never would have checked a GFCI, especially in the bathroom, for a circuit in the bedroom. Normally it doesn't work that way, but somebody was here before me, and that's the same way with troubleshooting anything in real life. Somebody was there before you, so even though it shouldn't be that way, never count anything out. And I've always said it, start from square one with your troubleshooting every single time. And never ever take somebody else's word for troubleshooting. If they say they did something, or if you think something shouldn't be that way, check it anyway, just for your own safety. Thanks for watching, guys.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below with what you'd like to see in future videos.